In this video, we will be talking about SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures. It's something which is very useful when you want to prepare your business for the growth, where you systemize your processes. I brought excellent guest for that, Stephen Pope from My Amazon Guy agency. It's one of the probably biggest and well-known agencies in the industry, and he will share few SOPs which you can use directly for keyword research. And when you will find those keywords, you can use them for Amazon PPC and organic ranking. And before that, we will also a little bit get a small education why SOPs are important in your business. So let's bring our guest. Hello, Steven.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good
Hi,
to see you again. It was fun coming out to Prague and meeting you guys. Yeah, my wife had some family over the Czech Republic ancestry. We found out our great-great-grandfather was a blacksmith, found out where he's baptized in the church and all that good stuff. It was great coming over to the Eastern, lots of fun.
So yeah, Stephen just referred to European Seller Conference where he was speaking about 1 year ago in Prague, in Czech Republic. And people received your talk on the stage. I would not say it was a presentation. You mixed up a little bit presentation. You just pulled up live. You logged into one of the,
Yeah, I kept pitching your team. I was like, hey, let me do an AMA. And they're like, what's an AMA? And I'm like, well, it's when I get on stage and whatever happens, happens. People ask me questions. And so we did a live demo. And of course, the first person that had me do a live ASIN review happened to be a sexual wellness product. So I got on stage and talk about how I would, normally show the product in use in the main image. And I said, maybe not on this one. So it was good times.
Yeah, so we did few webinars like this with Steven in the past. You should find the links below in the description as well. And today we'll be talking about SOPs. And I know Steven has a short presentation about that. Steven, can you introduce yourself, why we should listen to you, and why what you will teach us is like something which can help Amazon sellers?
Well, I think that SOPs are super boring and everybody's going to be put to sleep by the end of this. Kidding. SOPs are super important, standard operating procedures, very important on how you go about building a business to structurize it, right? So like the guys that ran McDonald's and franchise and all that good stuff, they were able to dumb it down, take complex subjects, make them simple, and then the business would run smoother and more scalable. And so for people who are selling on Amazon, it's a very complex ecosystem, and you want to reduce your chaos. It's easier to run your business. So the reason why somebody should listen to me, proof in the pudding, I've built a $20 million agency using these exact SOPs. So my 500 employees that are employed at MAG all use these exact SOPs. My PPC team, we're going to be presenting 6 PPC SOPs today: keyword research, campaign setup, segmentation, negations. Never negate a good keyword, right? Few people that follow me know what I'm talking about. And so if you want to scale your operation, or maybe you're just starting out and you don't know where to start, this is going to be a great conversation for you.
Amazing. And I'm looking forward to those few SOPs which you will reveal. People can just like copy and use those for keyword research. And it's something which you, Steven, said you haven't shared publicly to anywhere else.
These are fresh, never been seen before. So come on in. Even if you don't know anything about PPC, we're going to talk about some beginning strategies. If you're on the advanced side, we got a couple of SOPs for you too. Let's buckle up.
All right. So yeah, we have your slides ready. And guys, if you're listening, if you have questions, write them right now in the live stream, or if you are listening the replay, keep them coming into the comment section below, and Steven will reply afterwards. And yeah, before Steven goes into the presentation, I wanted to mention everyone that don't forget to hit like for this video. Whenever you see a good content, good strategy, Steven is sharing with you. And I think we are ready to go with the slides. So
let's do it. All right. So strategic keyword research SOPs to boost Amazon PPC and organic ranking. So that's what we're up to today. And let's dive right on in. So here's a little bit about us. Here's how the fastest growing company, 334th on the list of the Inc. 500 there. And this is how we accomplish what you see on screen here. So 400 plus brands managed, $800 million in annual revenue generated by our agency, 500 employees. We're Amazon advertising accredited, we're PickFu certified, we're a Helium 10 trusted partner, and we put out all of our contents across the interwebs, and we give it all out for free. So I basically like to say I'm an education company who happens to be an agency, and I think that brand position is a little unique, and I don't think anybody else would make a position like that. So if you look at my T-shirt right here, it says "Us versus Amazon." So I wear this shirt, and I believe it. It's not me against you, other Amazon agency. It's all of us against Amazon. So I'll try not to pull that up too much. Nobody wants to see the belly. But I like to point out that I think some of my customers have expanded. I'm no longer just selling to Amazon sellers. And the things that we talk about today are also valuable if you're running an agency or an aggregator or something larger than just being one Amazon brand. So excited to talk to you guys today. Real briefly, I'll also talk about how we grow our sales before we get into the SOPs. There's basically two ways to grow sales: grow traffic or improve conversion rates. So when you grow traffic, you're looking at paid ads and search engine optimization. So on the screen on the left here in the red and the blue, we got paid ads and search engine optimization. And on the right is things that affect conversion. Platform management, that's all your catalog, your merchandising, all that good stuff, and brand content and optimization. So you're going to have all of the design, all of the creations, images, and all of that good stuff. I also like to point out that this is not set and forget it. It's a rotation. And so all of the SOPs that we talk about today are also not set and forget it. The value to having a written procedure versus just having a video is the video can get outdated, but the procedure can just be, oh, step 32, that's outdated now. Let's swap that out and pull something else new in. So I'm a big fan of having written SOPs during this process. Couple of comments. So Mina says, "You're killing it, man. This is the type of value that makes great companies." James Wakefield says, "Thanks for providing access to your SOPs. There's a lot of gold in there. And this is the exact SOPs that my team of 500 employees use today." Here is how SOPs allow you to have your own system that runs it on its own, right? So someone writes, "Hey, I just purchased the SOP library. My initial impression, it looks amazing." And so here is not this SOP we're putting on screen right now. We're not going to go over this particular one today, but as a bonus, this one is on the website. We'll give the URL at the end of the show today where you guys can get a special deal. And this is just like a general framework or form, like, hey, SEO phase 1. You guys might remember some of my famous SEO phases. I was first to market talking about like how to grow all of your SEO traffic. And I was the first to talk about how A+ content indexes. Was the first to talk about how it was 250 bytes instead of characters now. And so there's a lot of news and changes that happen during being a seller on Amazon. Amazon is constantly changing. That's like the one thing that's a constant. So you got to keep up to speed with it. And the way that you utilize these SOPs is you create a structured system that allows your people to do the bulk of their work without having to consult you, right? So if you ever feel like your employees are asking you questions all day long, that means you're a bad system builder. You want to build a system so that the employee on a day-to-day basis has parameters, a sandbox, if you will, where they're supposed to operate and they're empowered to do so. So one of my favorite systems I built was my sales system, and I was able to make a basic calculator on how to pitch every brand ever. So I have all these data inputs. I've told the sales team, like, hey, as long as you follow this procedure, you have my blessing to do whatever this sandbox allows you to do, right? So I created these rules and I created the sandbox. I only get asked about once or twice a month if they could go outside of that sandbox, i.e., we send out 100 contract proposals a month, and only 2% of the time do I have to get involved myself. So that means SOPs, systems, and standard operating situations can solve 98% of your business operations on a day-to-day basis if done correctly. And that takes a lot of pressure off you as the business owner. That takes a lot of pressure off you as a manager. And then you can go focus on higher level activities. So lots of challenges that SOPs can solve.
Yeah, I myself actually was writing SOP for our team about 2 days ago. I wrote about customer support. I realized we're getting emails, we're getting chats but to our individual accounts, and I wanted to write how we supposed to answer support requests, and it should be centralized. It should be through the email only. So yeah, I had to write a SOP how we should deal when somebody is chatting with us about refunds in private messaging. And
things
yeah,
you can say, things you shouldn't say.
yeah.
You know, don't yell at the customer. Make them feel good. How fast should you be able to respond, right? Like, should it be a 4-hour turnaround time or 2 business hour target? All those KPIs, right? So the more you address those constraints, the more you put them on paper, everybody knows what you expect. And, you know, high detailed people, I hire a lot of detailed people. They love to know what to expect. They love to know what's expected of them, right? And so if you have it on paper, they're like, oh, I just follow this and you're going to be happy. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to be really happy, right? And so I've hired a lot of people to run my own PPC account for Age of Sage. And I built this brand. I was going to give it to my daughter someday. I've had a lot of challenges running this brand. I ended up selling it to my partner. But along the way, I had people all over the world running my PPC account. And I got to tell you, I would prefer to hire the person that just simply followed my SOP over the guy who knew more about PPC. And I had better results when they would just follow the SOP. So certain cultures and certain people are going to be better at this than others. And you may have to hire around that. But lots of fun once you have it up and running. You'll be happier with the results if you get it right. We're going to take a lot of questions today, so please do write your questions while we're going through the process today. So what kind of SOPs do you need to run Amazon? We're going to be focusing on PPC specifically with the 6 we give out today and keywords. And that's like everybody always wants to get better at PPC, so that's why we're going to focus there. But here is a laundry list of other SOPs that we have built, ranging from SEO, design, troubleshooting galore. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many catalog error codes there are. My parentage won't set up, my listing got yanked, Amazon suppressed my title, how to get off a hijacker, all that good stuff. Brand registry, I had my brand registry yanked. I had to appeal it, how to even set it up, how to get it back. Stranded inventory, wow, you have to delete this product and recreate it and duplicate the SKU because Amazon's bugged out on the SKU. Negative feedback removal, ASIN merging. That's a lot harder to do in 2024. Filing tickets, they keep changing the ticketing system. Customer service, just like Justice talked about. Copywriting, SOPs on how to use Helium-10, FBA shipments, clawbacks, UPC issues, A to Z claims, parentage, Walmart, eBay. We started dabbling in other marketplaces. How do I get started there? How do I set PPC up on these platforms? How do I ship into these platforms? Troubleshooting and tracking. So a lot of different types of topics that can be covered and in running a marketplace, Amazon or otherwise. So today, though, we're going to be demoing 6 PPC SOPs. I'll be going through and talking about them, everything from campaign setup, segmentation, and all of the fun things in between, so we can continue making our PPC get better and better, like reduce that ACoS, take care of business, so to speak, and lots of fun today. So we're going to be diving in directly to these SOPs right off the bat here. So I'm excited to talk to you.
I see some questions are coming in, but they're not so much about SOPs. They're more random. But yeah, people asking, for example, Joseph wants to know, how should a typical PPC account audit look like, where I take a top-down view, not just keyword level? I'm good with bulk operations as well as with Excel.
So Joseph, you have a huge advantage by doing bulk sheets and Excel. Big advantage because it's faster, it's more scalable. You can get better results. So when you're auditing an account, first thing I would look at is negations. Make sure you have weekly negations being set up on the account and are frequent there. I would look at segmentation. Make sure you're not mixing match type keywords. making sure that they're not overtly segmented. Not a lot of people talk about that, right? But like never negate a good keyword off an auto campaign. You also want to make an exact campaign for that keyword, but leave it alone on the auto. So things like that, first things I would look at. I would also look at bid modifiers, and I would look at keyword discovery processes. So those are the first things I would audit in general. And the nice thing about Excel and bulk sheets, and you probably know this already, Joseph, is that you can set a macro up very quickly and be like, hey, anything above 35% ACoS, lower the bid by 10%. Boom. And then reload the template, and it's nice. Another nice thing about bulk sheets is that you can back up your advertising. So if you mess something up and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I need to undo everything. You can download a backup for your PPC campaigns, and then the next week just change and revert backwards. And you cannot do that manually. You must use bulk sheets. So great questions from Joseph.
All right, great. So let's dive now into the first SOP.
All right. So first one we're going to go through, and by the way, you'll notice I've got my Chrome browser up. These are the exact SOPs in our live system today. So this isn't a presentation. It's like literally I'm logged in. This is exactly what it looks like. And so in here, how to conduct keyword research and ASIN research. And so one of the questions I had when I was trying to figure out how to present this today, I wasn't sure like how fast I should go through this, or if I should like go line by line. So the audience, you're gonna help me out. You know, if you want me to go slower, tell me to go slower. If you want me to go faster, tell me to go faster, and we'll base it on the speed that you guys want to do. And I got 6 of these, and we're gonna dive in. So each SOP does a couple of key things, right? So tell people what it is so they can find it, who it's for so they know if it's for them or not, the objective. So the purpose of this document is to give you a step-by-step guide on how to conduct keyword and ASIN research. Everybody needs to know how to do this, okay? And then we specifically integrate with Helium 10 for a lot of our keyword-based SOPs. There's a lot of other great tools out there. A lot of the same things that we talk about with Helium 10 will cross-apply to other keyword tools. But there's a couple things that Helium 10 still has a big edge on, Cerebro specifically. So keyword research using Search Query Performance Report. That is my favorite report ever. I call it the ICAP marketing funnel. I stands for impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases. And then ASIN research using Amazon search, and ASIN research using Product Opportunity Explorer. So those are the 4 typical ways most people can get 90% of their keyword research done. And then we also will cross-link some of our video content to give people like a video tutorial. But in general, the SOP needs to stand without video representation. And that's important because things change. So you want to be able to come in here and edit a specific line. All right. So first we start with Helium 10. We're going to go step by step here. So let's say you're going to advertise this Age of Sage smudge stick. Okay. So this is a live product, still exists today on Amazon. The ASIN in question holds a good ranking, making it suitable for a reverse product lookup on Cerebro. We actually misspelled Celebro there. That's funny. That's actually become an inside joke at our company, and somebody might have put that there on purpose. So I'm going to laugh about that. That's great. We'll need to update that though. And then if we don't have a well-ranked product to conduct our keyword research, we would need to extract the main keywords from the title. So in this case, white sage smudge sticks, and search for it in Amazon. So here below is a screenshot, and we'll take the top results. Usually they have the most reviews. Usually they have the best BSR. So we're in the top 3,000 BSR on average for these 3 products. And we'll snag those into Helium 10. So after that, log into Helium 10, click Tools, click Cerebro, and load it all in. Make sure the products you choose on Helium 10 are identical or closely related. Otherwise, you're going to get some superfluous keywords that won't make sense. By the way, before I forget, don't underrate Spanish keywords. So when you're doing this process, you are going to find Spanish keywords popping up. Why? It's the fastest demographic, fastest keyword boost on Amazon.com in the United States. I will sidestep the why. We all know why. But for our purposes as entrepreneurs, you want to take advantage of that. And a lot of people are under-investing, under-indexing for Spanish keywords. So don't underrate that. When you see those Spanish keywords show up, use them. They're high volume, way higher than you think sometimes. All right, so in the filter here, I generally will start by filtering for search volume, so highest to lowest on the search volume. And then From there, this is where the human element, if we're saying this is mostly science, here is where the art comes in, to make the final on keywords that we choose. And you can rank these keywords in a variety of ways. You can segment them into broad or exact, and figure out what's going to make the most sense. Some long tail keywords, they're going to have 4 word counts, and then you can filter and decide like, hey, we want to focus on keywords that are an organic rank 1 through 20 on 3 competitors on average. And so you can then decide how you want to filter it to choose your keyword sets. And I really love the filters that are available in this tool. That's why we use this specifically in our SOP. So Augustus, how are we doing so far? We're like halfway through SOP 1, and we got 5 more to get to. Is this pacing about right? What is the
I think
audience
we'll
say?
have to be a little bit faster with the
Yeah.
other ones. Yeah, not to go in so many details, but I think it's great. It's a lot of value for people who are doing maybe these jobs for their clients, or if they are running themselves, all these keyword research.
All right, so we'll try and wrap the first one quicker here. So exact keywords, you can then sort the word count, the organic rank, how to do the research using the search query performance reports, the next part of the SOP. And so what you can do is you can take the ASIN, go over to brand analytics, click on the search query performance report, click on the ASIN view, and that's going to bring up a screen that's going to look like this. And so we've numbered every step, where you need to go, how to do it, and then you're gonna the nicest thing about this report is it auto filters what's the most important keyword for your brand. And then you can look at the impressions and the clicks to decide like, okay, if I have one that's got a higher density on click-through rate, I need to spend more PPC there. If I have one that has a lower conversion, I might need to focus on my design. If you see one of the 4 stats, impressions, clicks, add to carts, or purchases during this process, you know whether it's important to put in your keyword research, or whether you should spend more on PPC. Maybe you need to update the title. I also have my main image hack I like to use where I'll add a keyword from this list into the main image. So that's all the whys of why you can do this. They recently enabled the ability to export this list. So you can put this into Excel, compare and contrast to our SEO phase 3 strike zone keywords out of Helium 10, sort it by highest search volume. Although the nice thing about the search query performance report is it's pretty much already sorted for most important. So one of the keywords that I found that was showing up a lot for me was in Spanish. So I went ahead and added Spanish into a couple of locations on my listing, made an immediate impact, started generating direct sales off of it. So here's some examples of good keywords: smudge kit, sage smudge, white sage smudge kit. Bad ones: peppermint incense, fake sage, sage for death. Some of these weren't as applicable as the other ones. You can also use ASIN research using Amazon search. And so you can go directly onto Amazon and type in the product. So here's an example, same product, products we should not target. And you can see these have a lot of reviews. Pricing is lower than ours and more reviews. So instead, you'd want to target these ones with lower reviews and higher prices. And then you can set up your PPC targeting to hit those ASINs. And then here's some ones that are like, a little bit better. They might have lower reviews and a lower price, but because they make sense, you got to test them out. And then ASIN research using brand analytics and the growth opportunities tab and product opportunity explorer will be the final section. So you go to growth, product opportunity explorer, and in here you can type in keywords, you can type in ASINs and look for the average selling price and total ratings and sort and filter. And so you'll notice here we've narrowed in on a few of these examples and decided like, oh, that's really interesting. So we click on them, obtain their ASIN, rerun steps 1 and 2 there, and additional segmentation comes out. All right, so that's the completion of SOP 1, how to conduct keyword and ASIN research, soup to nuts. Next one we're going to dive into here is advertising first-time setup and segmentation. So you got to do the keyword research. Then after that, you're going to come in and set up the PPC next.
Okay, we have a question from Joseph again. Is it okay to take good keywords from SQP,
search
query report, and add it to a campaign without looking first if any of those keywords already exist in a campaign for that product?
I think it's totally fine. So a lot of people wonder like, oh, what if I duplicate a keyword in multiple campaigns? not an issue. You do not affect the bid rates. Yes, you might share impressions between multiple campaigns, but I would, and you could do a bulk sheet upload to verify if you've already got campaigns created, but it's just a lot of work to search for. I'd rather just go ahead and create a dedicated campaign. A lot of times people have like a campaign with 50 keywords in it, which is insane. Don't do that. And you should be under 5. So even if it's in another campaign with 5+ keywords, it might only be getting 10% of the impression share. So when you see it on the SQP at the top of the list, chances are you probably should have a dedicated campaign with one exact match on it. And that's additional segmentation that comes out of this research.
All right. Thank you very much. Actually, Joseph has another question, unrelated maybe to what we talked, but these days, what is a healthy ad sales to all sales ratio, 30, 40%? And if it's high, what can it be done?
Yeah. So overall, the average brand that I work with has a TACoS between 11 and 15%. I would say more brands often or not are closer to the 11 side, but the ones that are emergent, new, trying to grow aggressively are going to be 15% TACoS, generally speaking. Each category is going to have a different lifetime value. Like obviously, if you sell supplements, high PPC cost, $5 a click. Your cost to acquire a customer is insane, but your lifetime value on the back end makes up for the difference. So ACoS, there's no ACoS best practice per se, but my brand was averaging a 45% ACoS in tumblers and in sage sticks and in soaps. And for other brands, let's say you're in like lawn and garden, you might want to be closer to 20%. Then maybe you go over to supplements and you're like 80%, right? So it's just all over the place depending on the category. There are tools that do give like averages of category ACoS, but at the end of the day, you got to decide what you're comfortable with, right? So like if you have to be profitable day one, you're gonna change things a lot different. So one of the questions I usually like to ask people is like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being profit at the cost of growth, 10 being growth at the cost of profit, what's your number? And if you tell me you're a 10, then you're going to have a high ACoS. If you tell me a 1, you might not even advertise, right? So those are the things that can structure based on your goals.
All right, thanks. Okay, so let's go to the second
All right.
SOP. Okay.
So this is about segmentation. So you can start with an empty segmentation sheet, gather the ASINs, find the keywords in the ASINs from the previous SOP, check for duplicates, and build a segmentation sheet. Okay, so this is like the outline of what we're going to cover. Then you would optimize it, rename it, organize it, and then finally create your strategies and all that good stuff. So down this list, after the outline, we'll go line by line and walk you through all this good stuff. So segmentation and keyword research, create an empty segmentation sheet, gather the ASINs. You can do this from reports, business reports, click on the details, and then click on detail page, sale and traffic by child item. And then you're going to sort this by ordered product sales. And then you can decide whether you're going to do this by child or parent ASIN. I'll typically go by child, though, specifically. And then find the keywords and ASINs to target. So there's sometimes you can link between other SOPs. So if you want to take a specific step, you'll take a step, go how to conduct keyword and ASIN research, which is back to the first one we did. Then you're going to start checking for duplicates and then follow this document to duplicate the keywords in the segmentation sheet. And then that way you can keep everything nice and clean. So there's like some kind of like mini steps, go here and then go there. And then you'll build your segmentation sheet. So after all said and done, this is what it could look like if you follow these procedures. So we got a list of keywords that are broad. We got a list of keywords that are exact. And we put all of the search volumes next to them. And then here's like the glossary. So ASIN comp, this is going to take the ASIN from the competitor products, keyword broad, exact, self, exact, and you kind of get the idea from here. So I'm going to scroll down to keep the pacing going. After that, you're going to optimize, rename, and organize. And so here is an ideal of like how we're going to like name the campaign, how we're going to segment the campaign and all that good stuff. And it's important to filter things down to the level that you're looking to do and segment down to the levels you're looking to do. Because if you add too many keywords, you're going to have cannibalism. If you don't name things, you can't find things. So all those good things, super important. Never pause a campaign that has a high amount of orders in the last 60 days, even if the ACoS is high. General best practice. Instead, you want to lower the bids. So you're going to manage the bids down, and it's not unheard of to like take a 150% ACoS and just lower the bid 20%, and all of a sudden the ACoS is 70%. It happens. So you want to be careful on what you do with that. You can rename and change the old campaigns after we finish and optimize everything. So here's our naming convention file, which is the next SOP we're going to go to, and then you can hit the rename button on your sheets. Go through, take the, you'll have 3 columns: old campaign, new campaign, and portfolio. And you can actually use a bulk sheet to rename all of the campaigns and change them into the new. So here's an example of the old campaign structure. So we got SP, which is sponsored products, product target, smudge sticks, mag. And then the new way to do it, SP-ASIN, self, smudge sticks, mixed products, mag. So that way you know like where you're targeting. And then a lot of people don't use portfolios. I think it's underrated. And you can create portfolios by product, by category. So I've got smudge stick portfolios, I've got soaps portfolios. And by doing these portfolios, you can then figure out how you're doing, measure things directly. You can also create or rename portfolios by going into the ad console directly and doing it manually. And then budget caps on old portfolios. You can actually do a budget by portfolio. I don't actually recommend doing this. We just show how to do it. And the reason you don't want to generally do this is because it's way better to manage it by keyword bids, not by portfolio budget cap. So after that, you can then talk about strategy and how to create the strategy based on the budget. And so we're gonna bypass covering some of this so we can get to some of the other SOPs today. But going to this step, create new campaigns. So we've already done the keyword research. Now you're going to set some bids on some new campaigns, and you can use the template file, choose your budget, number of campaigns, and here's some examples that we walk through on how to do that. Decide where your budget allocation is going to go. I generally recommend at least 70% to sponsored products. Usually it can be as much as 80%. Display and sponsor brands in a distant second and third. Depending on how much budget you set up, you can end up strapping yourself too thin as well. All right, so we're going to skip over and go to SOP 3. Unless we got
so far,
questions.
it's amazing. Yeah, I have few questions, and I see Joseph has also very related question. I wanted to first to inform everyone that creating such SOPs takes a lot of time, and Stephen has actually, this is what Joseph is asking. Do you have a copy of the SOP? So take a screenshot of the ones he's sharing right now.
Yep, those are free.
Yeah, and Stephen has how many in total?
Over 520. And so stick around, and we're going to give you a special offer so you guys can purchase these and get lifetime access at a lower cost than we offer to other channels. So it's going to be a limited time offer. So stick around for that.
And yeah, I do have a question. How do you keep those SOPs up to date? Because, you know, with time goes, interface changes, screenshots need to be updated.
So with 500 employees, when somebody says, hey, this doesn't work anymore, we have an entire team that goes in and fixes them up and troubleshoots and tries to figure out how to repair them. Or we'll have a subject matter expert come in and propose changes. Sometimes our customers will tell us, be like, oh my gosh, Amazon changed the entire dashboard. We got to go to the next part here. And so that also happens. So if you're a customer that purchases these and you got a question, you got a concern, just reach out. We'll take care of it. The email address is sop@myamazonguy.com.
All right. Okay. Joseph has another question. Ignore if this is not related, but when I have a list of very important keywords to a product, should I add it to the backend search term field as well as title and bullets, or should I add to one place?
So I have 4 phases to SEO, and we have all these in SOPs as well. We didn't cover them today, but starts with indexing, then it goes to incremental, finally strike zone keywords in phase 3, and then phase 4 is the search query performance report. Depending on which phase and the maturity of your product will dictate the answer to your question. So if you're in phase 3 or 4, it's a mature product, chances are you're going to want the keyword in the title and the search terms. In phase 2, though, when it's not a mature product, I actually take them out. And the reason for that is so you can make room for more keywords in your search terms to index for them to begin with. You only need the keyword one time in any of the locations to index. Following that, to rank it, though, you need multiple iterations of that same keyword. So that means you might have the same keyword on your listing 10, 15, 20 times if you're really trying to rank for it. And a lot of people misunderstand SEO strategy. Like, oh, I just need to show up for one time. That's true to index for it, but to rank for it, you need to have it way more dominant.
All right. Thanks for the answer. Let's move to the next SOP, the third one, free SOP.
Yep. All right. So this is a SOP on naming conventions. And so I think it's really important to name things so you can find them, segment them out. So we like to have our segmentation done like this. We put the numbers on the end. We put the match type, the sponsored products, whether it's auto or manual. So you can see here's an auto example with the auto there. Here's a manual example with the keyword, whether it's broad, phrase, exact, or mixed. And then we'll put the title of the product, like a short name, if you will. And then the ASIN followed by who set it up. So this is important if you have multiple people setting things up. Maybe an agency will identify themselves so you know, oh, the agency made this and that campaign's doing great. Or maybe the agency made it and it's doing terrible. You want to be able to hold them accountable to that. By the way, whenever you change who does your PPC, do not get rid of your old campaigns. You want to co-opt those old campaigns and fix them or improve them. A new campaign with zero history will never do as well as an old campaign with 100+ orders. It just will not happen. So something super important to do with that. So this is going to be the shortest SOP we do today, and it's very self-explanatory. This is just how we recommend setting up the segmentations, whether it's a video. So we've written all of the shorthand for you ahead of time, so you guys can take advantage of all of those opportunities right there. All right, so that's SOP 3. Simply put, name your stuff.
Talking about organizing SOPs, I see you are using document 360.io. Yep. Is it what you recommend, or
it is
it because you have 500 of them?
Yeah, so if you only have 15 or 20 SOPs at your company for yourself, I would recommend just using Google Docs. But the problem is that after your drive gets really big, how do you segment these out? What folders do you put them in? How do you make it so it's easy for everybody to find them? And then how do you lock them down so not the wrong person doesn't edit it, all that good stuff. And so Document 360 allows us for user control, allows us for version control. Linking back and forth makes it easier and whatnot. It's also easier to make it public facing. So most internal companies that aren't trying to sell their SOPs probably won't need a software like Document 360, but anybody that's trying to sell them, I would recommend the platform wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm. And people seem to love the content so far. Wow, Amazon guy, Orange Klik, great guests. All right. So, and we have a question from Pratik. While writing a title, which is the best strategy to write multi-phrases? Should we use commas or hyphens or common words?
That's a great question. Okay, so Amazon has told us how they like to see it. And then there's also some SEO hacks to keep in mind. So if you have 5 words in the beginning of your title, followed by any syntax that includes a comma, a hyphen, a train rail, bar, if you call it like that, then you'll set the URL based on the first 5 words. And you can ticket the URL as in addition to that. So you don't have to do it that way, but you can. And so back in the day, before people figured out that Amazon was willing to change the URL for you, if you just simply asked, that was the only way to do it. But other than that, I do recommend front loading the most important keywords in the title, even though Amazon claims that they index it equally or rank it equally. But from my experience, they don't. It's also truncated on the search page results. So first half of the title, definitely put the most important keywords. Seasonal keywords or hyper niche keywords put at the end of the title. I personally prefer hyphens or train tracks, but I do sometimes use commas. So I kind of mix it up a little bit. So I don't think there's a particular conversion improvement by deciding which one you want. I would go with your personal preference, what you think looks best to the customer. No SEO implications other than first 5 words truncated into the URL, though.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for the answer. I hope, Pratik, you are satisfied. And let's move to the 4th free SOP.
All right. So advertising SOP budget rules. So I would say most people ignore budget rules, and most people either they set up like an account level budget if they're first getting started. I don't want to spend more than $500 a week or whatever it might be. But sometimes it does make sense to have budget rules. So a bigger account may have a budget they can't go over for the month. Corporate card only has a certain limit. So some things to keep in mind. So this is what we typically will do is we'll set up a budget in advance. There might be like a Prime Day budget. So you can actually schedule budgets, which is also very nice. Performance-based rules can be also set. I don't really like these, to be honest. I don't think they're very good. I think they will get good, but they're not good right now. But you can set up performance-based rules based on ACoS, CTR, CVR, all that good stuff. And then metrics are usually calculated with a 7-day minimum budget of $10, which makes sense. Not too hard to get that. But just be careful with performance-based rules. They tend to go a little haywire. But if you do want to set up a performance-based ACoS rule, here's how you would do it. Go to the advertising account, set the date range, use filter by, advertising cost of sale, select less than or equal to, and for this example, we'll be doing anything below 10%. Step 2, select the campaign you want to add a budget rule, and then you can set up to the time frame and the ACoS goal. Step 3, do a quick optimization check to ensure the targeting of the keywords or ASINs is not going more than the increased ACoS range of 10%. Just basically a sanity check here. And if there are any non-performing keywords, adjust them to avoid a spike in ACoS. Click the Budget Rules tab. Click the Add Budget Rules tab button, and then set the rule, type, date range, recurrence, performance metric, and how much to increase it by. So for example, if you have a $10 daily budget with a 100% increase, it'll become $20. So most of the time, I don't recommend running out of budget. So if you were manually running your ads and you saw a list of campaigns running out of budget and the ACoS was good, you can just go down the list and click them and probably be okay. But for more complicated accounts, you may need to use a bulk sheet like this. H&H rule number 1, and then below ACoS 18% and orders under 3, you can set up a performance rule that runs daily and increase the bid by X%. Right. So there could be some extreme ways to do this. Here's how that all might look fully set up and when to do it and why to do it. And then finally, after all is said and done, budget rules tab will now have all the information you set. You can go back and delete it, turn it off and on. Maybe you have like a Prime Day, like, oh, increase budgets for the whole account by 20%. Easy to do with a budget-based rule. Cool. So that's our fourth one. Our fifth SOP is, yep, go ahead.
No, all good. Yeah, actually, I still have questions about SOPs. So, for example, your SOPs are so detailed. Who is writing those, or how does it start? Is somebody creating a video and then somebody's following up with text?
So the extroverts out there are making videos and then asking the introverts to write down what actually happened in the video. I am a super introvert. I happen to be really good at making videos, but when I sit down to write an SOP, I go step by step meticulously and I become the end user myself until I am satisfied that I can give this to anybody and they can run it. So I have probably written, I don't know, 50 of the SOPs in the library myself. We've had directors probably write another 100, 150, somewhere in that range. But the bulk of them are written by either the end user, the person that has to do it on a daily basis, then it goes up to a director to review it, QA it, and test it themselves, or one of our SOP team members. So we actually have dedicated SOP members on our training team. And so typically, if the trainer has to tell you how to do something, it makes their job easier if there's written instructions, right? So they take the SOP and they say, hey, follow this, go do this task, go set up a campaign and come back in 20 minutes, let's review it. Mm-hmm. Then they'll go through and say, hey, you missed step 17 and go back and fix it.
Right, cool. Interesting part that you have so detailed with like step by step. This is how I like SOPs to be. I had recently we had another live stream with Michal. He is helping Amazon sellers to exit businesses and to systemize them. His comment was that he prefers when the SOPs are not so detailed because he wants to work with people which have already experience and they don't need to be explained. You know, go to the third menu and the fifth menu. maybe it's more about how big is the organization?
So this is a complexity question, right? So the model you just described, in my opinion, is limiting, right? So if you can only hire experienced people, what happens? A, your payroll costs go up, right? I can hire anybody. I can still hire the experienced person. I might even put the experienced person on the training team to write SOPs, right? But I can hire somebody that knows nothing about Amazon and beat most experienced agency results. Why? Because I have a consistent product. I am the McDonald's agency. Now, some people don't like McDonald's. I hate McDonald's. It's gross. But a lot of people still go there, and it's got thousands and thousands of locations. So I have franchised my knowledge base. My product is consistent. That means the 500 or 400 brands that I currently serve all get a very similar experience within a 5 or 10% variable. Now, what happens though is that a portion of the accounts that we run will not work with our SOPs. That's when you pull in the experienced person and be like, hey, can you figure out what we should do here? The isolated cases, if you will. So I think it's fine to hire experienced people. I think it's fine to hire non-experienced people, but I want a system where I can use both.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. Pratik was happy about previous question answer,
Thank
and
you.
now he has another question. For new product launch, after optimizing everything, title, bullets, all text, everything, still, if we don't get sales, then how much time we should wait and keep trying to push the same product?
My favorite way to solve this question is by lowering the price. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with this. Let's be clear. It's uncomfortable because you lose margin. It's uncomfortable because you're like, oh, how am I going to be solvent long term? But in my opinion, let's say you want to sell this item at $20. Lower that sucker down to $10. Change nothing else. If that doesn't fly off the shelves, your product's a dud. You're done, right? 9 out of 10 times, though, it starts moving off the shelves. And so what do you do from there? A week from there, you raise it to $12, let it sit for another week, then raise it to $15, let it sit another week. And then over the course of a month or two, you work your way back up to your target price, changing nothing else, not the SEO, not the design, not the PPC. And lo and behold, what happens? Your item now has a great BSR and a history and might very well be moving the same number of units as when it was at 50% off. How is that possible? Well, on Amazon, you need sales to get sales. It's a snowball effect. It's basically everything you've ever learned about the honeymoon period. It still applies post-launch. So that's generally my favorite preferred answer, is to simply lower price. It is a marketplace. Most people forget this. It's a marketplace. What does that mean? It means your competitors have all of the room already taken up. So the fastest way to earn sales is to simply lower price and then raise it back up. And it only takes a month or two to get back to parity, but then all of a sudden you're turning 1,000% more sales.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Pratik. I hope it was useful and you will try this strategy. Maximize e-commerce says awesome stuff, of course.
Thanks, Kevin.
And those who are listening, if you still have questions, write them in the chat. Yeah. And if you are watching the replay, the recording, you can keep the questions in the comment section below, and we will ask Steven or his team to answer. And at the end of this video, you will get a link where you can get access to all these SOPs, to 500 plus. All right, so let's move to the last two SOPs.
All right, let's do it. So next we got harvesting. And so this is when you're going to come into a current campaign that's going well, and you're going to harvest out of it and try and make new campaigns. So most common way to do this is through the search terms report of an auto campaign. And I love doing this because it allows you to go find ways that are going well and allocate budget to improve more sales. So go to Advertising Campaign Manager, and you're going to work your way over to the ad reports. Basically, you're looking for the search term report. You can do this manually, or you can do this by template upload. Either way works. But our SOP here is built to show you both ways. Template file, always going to be a more scalable solution and make it easier, so you don't have to click into each individual campaign. All right, so you're going to download the sponsored products and search term report. You're going to click Run Report, go back to the advertising report, click on Download. Then you're going to harvest away in a CSV file, just like this. So this is what it's going to spit out and look like. You can then click on the targeting column. Does not contain, right, ASIN. That way you only get keywords and not the ASINs. And then from there, you can sort and filter it by ACoS equal to less than your target goal, let's say 35%, pretty much most break-even ACoS for products. Then you can download that and then go to our next SOP to create them in bulk. So if you want to create a bulk list of keywords that you've harvested, you can then upload them back into Amazon and create hundreds of campaigns simultaneously with all those keywords that make sense. So that is our harvesting campaign. And by the way, to my team that's watching this, I think we should link to the bulk sheet uploader at the bottom of this one. Let's improve this SOP and add a link to that one. All right, so we got one more SOP to go, and then we'll give our special offer away.
Internal communication with your team via the webinar on Klik.
I appreciate it. Don't forget the Celebro text edit typo as well. Let's get that one too.
Yes, so far it's amazing stuff. And of course, if you enjoy the video we have, that you're watching, don't forget to subscribe and hit like. A lot of related links you will find in the description below. You'll find few links where we did webinars in the past with Steven. They were really useful, and we have thousands of views on them as well. And I think we can finalize with the last SOP, and we'll...
Negations. All right. This is going to be your defense. Best way to lower ACoS, fastest way, is to simply negate high ACoS keywords. So you can do this manually by going into the search terms report. You can do this in a bulk sheet. Depends on which way you want to do it, how fast or scaled, how much you like Excel, etc. So I would recommend doing this once a week on all active campaign groups. And the reason for this is because if you don't, you're going to waste money. Auto campaigns, broad match campaigns, those are the top two places you're going to run negations. Phrase and exact match are no longer phrase and exact match. I don't know if you guys noticed this about Amazon, but they keep running out of room for your ads, so they keep changing the rules and the targeting. And so you might have to start running negations on your exact match campaign. And if you didn't know that, that's going to be some pretty breaking news, because there's a lot of wasted ad spend, because now they're sending ads to lookalike keywords even when you type in exact match. So with that in mind, I do recommend you set a baseline of about 20 clicks. If you don't have at least 20 clicks, you probably don't want to negate it yet. You could lower the bid, but don't negate it quite yet. And then we'll have a rule set. Basically, if its ACoS is above X%, so I usually will have more of an aggressive one. So if your target's 30%, I might set the baseline at like 55, 60% for potential negation. And then you have to have enough data to make sure it makes sense. If a product's new or has little reviews, you may want to hold off on negations until you collect more data. But if you're obvious, like a phrase lacks complete relevance, you're selling a wine glass and steel terms are showing up or plastic terms are showing up, you might want to do an account-wide negation on the phrase match for that. So there could be another way to do this, like shoes as an exact match might need to be negated when you're selling men's brown shoes size 11, for example. Advanced negations. So if it revolves around models, you can negate most searched models or sizes in advance, so your campaign doesn't spend on irrelevant terms. If you're selling, here's an example, an iPhone X protector, you could negate iPhone X's and XS's, right? So you got to decide like which is the specific thing your product will and will not work for, and you don't want to waste ad spend on clicks for things that can't convert for you. So other logical negations that can be added immediately is gender-specific products. You may want to negate men on a woman's blouse, or boy, or male, or guy, or man. And if it's a men's shirt, you might want to do the opposite: woman, woman, lady, girl, female. And so I just recommend running a general negation framework. And this is our guidelines. We also have additional SOPs on like how to physically go in and negate. So those are all of the SOPs. Are we ready for our special offer, Augustus?
Yes, we're ready. And actually, let's take one more question from Pratik. He says, what could be the best tool to know our actual profits for Amazon Marketplace? So, pitch.
Yeah, that's a good question. So Amazon is under a lot of heat right now for all the fee increases. So all the sellers want to know the answer to this question too. I just did a demo for Sellerize yesterday, and I was actually really impressed with the amount of reporting and profit tools. Because that was the one I last touched, I'm going to go with that. Helium 10, it's another tool that's got a lot of good stuff in it. There are probably 20 profit-based tools out there. I'm sure there are many, many good ones on this. So it just depends on what kind of dashboard reporting you're looking for. But the nice thing is that it's very easy to look at the tool and do a quick demo to figure out if it gives you what you want. So Sellerize was built to do exactly this, though, and that's probably the one I would check out first.
And I'm personally based in Europe, and a lot of European Amazon sellers are using Sellerboard. And,
yep, that's another good one.
Yeah, so it's made in Germany. Let's say it's made in Europe. Yep. I would say Sellerize
higher quality over in Europe. Yeah.
I mean, like when you are trying to calculate your profits in European marketplaces, there is this VAT, which are not always understood and properly calculated by US-made tools. Sellerize, I know, is the boss there is not native American, or not. He's like from Eastern Europe as well. So I think this tool also should be very well made. All right, we have another.
I agree with that.
Yeah, a few more questions, but let's move on now for the special offer. So guys, if you're interested in getting access to all the SOPs, Steven has prepared something for you. So I'm sharing the screen.
So all you got to do is go to myamazonguy.com/orange, and we're going to give you guys a limited special offer to get our lifetime access. We normally charge $2,500 for lifetime access, and we're going to give it to you guys for $1,000 for joining our webinar here today. So this is really great. Here's a text message from my friend Bobby, who bought my SOPs. I went to lunch with him, and he's like, "Oh, you got SOPs? Let me buy those." And he bought them on the spot. Later that day, "Dude, those SOPs are good. I've used one of them to train our girl." Nice. Glad to hear it. They have one for literally every situation in our catalog folders. So really great opportunity for that. So take advantage of the special offer to get 520 plus SOPs. We constantly edit them. I found 2 edits while we're live today. And we add new ones, especially requested SOPs. So if you buy this and you're like, "Man, I really wish there was an SOP to do this random thing that only my brand does," we might make it for you, because we like serving our customers. My number one agency goal is ask customers what they want, give it to them, then ask, "Did you get what you wanted?" And I'm telling you right now, that is the key to building a $20 million agency. I have spent millions of dollars building these SOPs for you guys. And I am, in my opinion, doing a service to the entire Amazon sector by selling them to you guys, right? So I'm not trying to hold them. It's not a trade secret, but I do need to charge something to offer to make up the cost to actually put on the program, because it takes a lot of time to build these and keep them up to date long time. So exclusive time offer, go on over to myamazonguy.com/orange, and you guys can get that. So that'll be available for the next 24 hours.
Thank you very much, Steven. You will find the link below in the description. And I wanted to ask technically how it will work after the purchase of this library. They will get access to that platform which you showed, and
Yes.
they can keep their user access there, or they have to copy everything, or how does it work?
They'll keep a user access in Doc 360. That way it syncs every time we make a change or an update or add SOPs. We'll sometimes send out emails as well, just informing everybody with all of the maintenance that we do, or the newest, latest in additions, all of that good stuff. So I hope you guys check it out.
So what's interesting that these exact SOPs, Steven's team is using to serve 400 brands. So it's amazing. And
they are tried, true, and tested.
Amazing. Yeah, great. Comment, everyone, if you are excited about this library. If you have additional questions, write them in. And I see that we have another kind of practical question. We have products for which major converting keywords have very high bids for around $4-6. Low volume, long phrase aren't converting, which are available for lower bids. What could be solution to this?
Okay, so first thing I would check is to make sure that the keyword is in the listing title, bullet points, and your best keyword needs to be in the main image. So I call this my CTR main image hack, and you want to have a keyword in the main image. So you can Photoshop a keyword into the packaging. You can put some brown box, white box packaging to the side of your product just to put a keyword smack dab on it. All of the big brands do this. Zule Kitchen does it. We've seen Orange, the actual pet odor brand, do this. And it just makes a difference. Customers really like to identify products. They don't care about brands on Amazon. They care about your solution. So if you have high bids not converting, make sure the keyword is predominant on your listing. That's the first thing I would check. The next thing I would check is to make sure it's relevant. Maybe that keyword's not relevant because Amazon doesn't see it on your listing, doesn't see consumers actually converting on that keyword. So if you have like a less than a 4% conversion on a keyword, chances are Amazon's not going to show your ads. Their average conversion rate on Amazon is 8 to 12%. So anything under that average, you got to do some work on the listing.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Talking about SOPs and creating them inside their business, if, of course, not everybody maybe wants to invest into 500 SOPs, maybe they're just starting out, trying to build systems themselves. What are the common mistakes you feel Amazon business owners, or maybe in general business owners, are doing when creating SOPs or organizing them? Or
good question. So I would say number one, they're not making them. Right? Like I can't tell you how many agencies that are multi-million-dollar agencies and they have no SOPs. They just hire their talent and basically say, go figure it out. And the problem with that is everybody's going to do it differently. Not everybody's going to do it the same way. And if you don't have congruity like this, you're going to have different people doing different things, different products, different results. You need to franchise solutions. Franchise solutions scale. Scaled solutions make money. So as an example of this, my agency makes a net profit of 43%. $20 million agency, net profit 43%. That is unheard of in our industry. Most agencies are around 15%. I'm telling you, SOPs are the key to success in profitability. No question.
amazing advice. Talking about building systems and making McDonald's type of businesses, I don't know how much you were inspired by E-Myth Revisited. It's an amazing book. I forgot.
I've read it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when I was reading it, I was thinking of, I had this idea of building, we are known for events. And I wanted to build like, McDonald's of events in Amazon industry. And this is when I started also to write SOPs for events. By the way, it is on purpose that I have a
event maker, by the way.
Talking about events, we have next European Seller Conference coming up in Prague in March, next March.
So I went last year, guys. This is a great event and good food. Oh my gosh, I gained 5 pounds last time I went to Prague. And there's a lot of beer over there. I don't drink, but I met all of the beer drinkers. There was a lot. There was a soccer match in town at the time.
Oh yeah. And yeah, of course, there is on purpose I'm on with Lego shirt because you have to put everything in pieces, all the pieces together. Yeah. Okay, one more last question.
Dude, my son Hunter, who's turned 8, he comes to me and says, Dad, is there any jobs I can do around the house? He wants to go buy Legos. And I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm going to teach my son hard labor turns into objects and value. So that my SOP on how to train my son right there.
All right. One of the last questions, Pratik. If we are stock out on our fast moving product, lost rank, then what could be our strategy when we are in stock?
So first of all, don't go out of stock. That's the number one rule about selling on Amazon. And you violated that rule. Rule number 2 is kind of like the first one. No, seriously, never go out of stock, guys. Like you can't go out of stock. Raise the price, slow down the sales. Don't go out of stock. However, now you have to pay for the low inventory fee, which kind of mucks things up. But in any case, don't go out of stock. If you have to go out of stock, when you come back in, you may need to have a heavier PPC spend, lower the price temporarily. But most of the time, if you're only out of stock for 2 weeks or less, you won't miss a beat. It won't be a problem. Subscribe and save will still kick in. But if you go past 30 days, you lose those subscribe and save sales. They automatically cancel subscriptions. So just be cautious about going out of stock.
All right, cool. So one more time, I will share the screen with a package which you can purchase. The link is below in the description. myamazonguy.com/orange. You will get access to 520 plus SOPs created by Steven by himself and his team. It's amazing. And some of them you saw in this video. So thank you very much, Steven.
Gave 6 of them away for free, but if you want the full package, 520 live edited SOPs, go to myamazonguy.com/orange for special offer just for watching today.
And what most importantly, lifetime updates, right?
Correct. Lifetime updates for all of our brand changes, all of the good stuff. Next time Amazon makes a major change, we're going to have an SOP on it.
And do you feel like you are still missing some SOPs and maybe next year it will be 600?
It has been over 90 days since a customer asked me to make an SOP. So I actually think I've got them pretty handled. So
wow.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Amazing. So you have everything. So it's really good for agencies, starting out agencies, or
anything you need to run an Amazon brand. We do have a separate product for agencies, for agency operations. We didn't talk about that today over at my agency guy. But for Amazon brands, this is everything you need to run a brand on Amazon.
All right. Thank you very much, Steven. As always,
My
great
pleasure.
stuff. And we hope to see you again on this channel in the future. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for having me on. We'll see you guys.
Thank you. Bye. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video with Steven where we break down the FBA, Amazon FBA listings, and Steven tells common SEO and PPC problems and their solutions. So check this out.